So in last class we saw that Lord Brahma manifested the different sounds as Shabda Brahma, and these different sounds, they're originally, Prabhupada says, all these are called as Shabda Brahma or spiritual sound. So in the purport, Prabhupada pointed out, it is said therefore that Brahma was created in the Mahakalpa as the incarnation of spiritual sound. So Brahma is created in that Kalpa as incarnation of spiritual sound. Spiritual sound is non-different from Krishna, and in that sense, Brahma, who is manifested as spiritual sound, is not different from the Lord. That is what is explained in today's verse. Shabda Brahma Atmanas Tasya. This Shabda Brahma, which became manifested from Lord Brahma, they are nothing but representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Atmanas Tasya means they are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is why this Shabda Brahma or even Lord Brahma, Vyakta Avyakta Atmanaha Paraha, he is above Vyakta and Avyakta. Whatever is manifested, whatever is not manifested, Brahma is above them, or Shabda Brahma is above them. Then Brahma avabhati vitato nana shakti upabrahmitaha. Lord Brahma, who is the incarnation of Shabda Brahma, he is avabhati, means completely manifested as Brahman or the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the material world. Nana Shakti Upabrahmitaha, and he is endowed with potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Many Shaktis are endowed in Lord Brahma. So translation Prabhupada says, Brahma is the personal representation of Supreme Personality of Godhead as the source of transcendental sound. So this is very important. Every great personality who appears in this material world are to different degrees representing the powers of the Supreme Lord. Just like we see, Narada is representing the Supreme Lord in devotional service. Here we are seeing Brahma is representing the Supreme Lord as Shabda Brahma. So, he is the personal representation. Why? As the source of transcendental sound. And therefore, he is above the conception of manifested and unmanifested. And thus, Prabhupada says, because he is representation of the Supreme Lord, he is complete form of absolute truth and is invested with multifarious energy. Nana Shakti Upabrahmitaha. So Prabhupada is explaining this very nicely in the purport. It should not be misunderstood by this verse that Brahma is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It should not be misunderstood. So Prabhupada in the very beginning explains in the purport, the post of Brahma is the highest responsible post within the universe and is offered to the most perfect personality of the universe. So Brahma is a living entity. When sometimes no suitable living entity is present, that time the Lord takes the position of Brahma. He takes the post of Brahma. That is true with even other posts also. Sometimes when a suitable living entity is not available to occupy the post of Chandra or Sun or even Indra, the Lord may take such post personally. Just like we find sometimes, even in the government, when there is no proper minister available for a particular portfolio, then the Prime Minister himself takes that portfolio. Like in the last government, say for example, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, he held the portfolio of finance for some time. So when no suitable person is available for that post, the main person himself takes the other subordinate post also. Similarly, generally the living entity who is the most pious among all the living entities in that universe, he is given the post of Brahma. But when no such living entity is available, then the Lord himself takes that position. But whoever that living entity is, that living entity carries out the work on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And thus, Brahma is endowed with multifarious energies, Nana Shakti Upabrahmitaha. So even though he is endowed with all Shaktis of the Lord, he does not become the Supreme Lord. He is Shaktya Vesha. He is having endowed with the Shakti of the Lord. That is what one should understand. So, this Prabhupada is clarifying in the purport very clearly. But, even though Brahma is living entity generally, we should not mistake him to be ordinary living entity. That is also very essential. Even though we have to clearly understand Brahma is also living entity. Likewise, spiritual master, he is also not Krishna. He is representative of Krishna. He is also Jiva Tattva. But he is not ordinary living entity. That also must be very clearly understood. So Prabhupada is saying here, in material world, Brahma is the complete representation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and transcendental sound, Pranava, comes from him. Just like even about the spiritual master we say, Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastrai. He is on the level of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For us, we should treat him on the level of Supreme Personality of Godhead. But at the same time, we must understand he is confidential servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not the Supreme Lord himself. That has to be very clearly understood. So Prabhupada is very clearly saying here, in the material world, Brahma is the complete representation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and transcendental sound, Pranava, comes from him. He is therefore invested with multifarious energies from which all demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varuna are manifested. Prabhupada gives an example. Just like Krishna is like the sun, and the energies in Brahma are like the reflection of that sun's energy in valuable stones like any diamond or platinum whatever. Just like the diamond, it reflects the light of sun and it is so shiny. Correct? Similarly, Brahma is exhibiting that potency of the Lord. It is the same potency, it is the potency of the Lord being exhibited by Brahma for a purpose. So that has to be clearly understood. Previously, Narada, son of Brahma, when he saw the multifarious energies of Brahma, he questioned Brahmaji and he asked him, that looks like you are the most powerful personality and looks like there is no one above you. With your energies you are able to create such a beautiful manifestation. So he asked this question to Brahmaji, that is there anyone superior to you? Because I am seeing that even though you are engaged in creation of this cosmic manifestation, but you are also worshipping someone else. So in reply to that, Brahmaji replied that yes, actually everything is created by that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything is maintained by Him and everything is destroyed by Him. We are just the agents of the Lord who act on behalf of the Lord. So this has to be very clearly understood that Brahmaji is the complete manifestation of the Lord in this material universe. That is why Prabhupada points out his position should not be minimized. Just because in that pastime, in the earlier pastime, when we saw Brahmaji was attracted to own daughter and that desire, lusty desires, he was contemplating in his mind. So Prabhupada says, it had an important purpose. So just because of that, his position should not be minimized. His transcendental value is not to be minimized. Even though he exhibited a tendency to enjoy his own daughter, there is a purpose for the exhibition of such a tendency by Brahma, and he is not to be condemned like an ordinary living entity. So this is very important, that for Teji Assam, those who are powerful personalities, we should not consider their faults to be like ordinary faults. Prabhupada gives an example. This example is given in the Vedic literatures. When Maharaj Parikshit asked this question to Shukdev Goswami, that Krishna, he is the symbol of religion. He is the dharma personified. He is the father of religion. Why did Lord Krishna act externally, at least immorally, when he danced with others' wife? It is immoral. In the society, if somebody is romancing or dancing with somebody else's wife, it is considered to be immoral. So Parikshit Maharaj, of course, he had no doubts, but he wanted it to be clarified for the whole world. So, in reply to that, Shukdev Goswami explains, he gives the example of sun. He says, in sun, which is completely pure in that sense, even if it soaks, even if it evaporates urine from a very, very filthy place, the sun does not become contaminated. Rather, the place becomes purified. So, we cannot imitate the sun, or we cannot find fault with the sun, that sun is soaking urine, because sun does not become affected by that. Sun can do, we cannot imitate. Then another example was given about Lord Shiva. That Lord Shiva, he can hold, in his kantha he can hold poison and he can be still alive. We cannot imitate that, isn't it? So similarly, the Supreme Lord's pastimes with the gopis cannot be imitated by mundane living entities. They are of different character altogether. So this is what we should understand, which Prabhupada is trying to convey here. Actually, by these so-called mistakes, sometimes the Lord has a greater purpose behind all of them. We find in Bhagavad Gita, we are just reading, Arjuna, his whole perception when he came to fight towards Pandavas, towards Kauravas, was different. And later on, when he wanted that, he wished that I do not wish to fight, his perception completely changed. What did he call Duryodhana in the beginning? Anyone remembers? Durbuddher, correct? Evil-minded. Let me see who are the people who have come, who are joining the party of this evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Dhartarashtra Durbuddher. And by the time he did Senya Niriksha, he was overseeing, observing the armies, his mind completely changed. And he started saying, Swajanam hi katham hatva sukhino. So he started saying, the same Durbuddher became Swajanam, my own people. His perception completely changed. You see? So, he committed mistake that even as a Kshatriya, we are seeing, even as a Kshatriya, even when challenged, he should fight. Forget about as a devotee of the Lord. Even as a normal Kshatriya, he should have performed his duty, irrespective of who the people are. But we find that Arjuna became bewildered. But there is a great purpose behind this bewilderment of Arjuna. The purpose is, Arjuna was to represent the living entity bewildered by Maya in performing his duties, Krishna conscious duties. So in the human form of life, we have a duty. The most important duty is to become Krishna conscious. So Arjuna was representing that living entity who is bewildered by Maya. And then, what did Arjuna do in order to come out of that bewilderment? What did Arjuna do? Arjuna submitted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He surrendered completely to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then by the help of the Supreme Lord, the transcendental Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord, and Arjuna was able to come out of that illusion. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj we see. Maharaj Parikshit also committed mistake. He became, even though he is a great devotee of the Lord, very tolerant. Devotees are very tolerant. They are able to tolerate the miseries, pains, all those things, ups and downs in life. But we find Parikshit Maharaj was not even able to tolerate this simple thirst of his. He became so thirsty, and out of that thirst, the pang of thirst, he insulted Shamik Rishi. So even with that mistake, the whole idea was that Srimad Bhagavatam will be spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. So we can see that even with mistakes, of a devotee, the Lord may put devotee in a condition of some kind of mistake for a higher purpose. So we cannot condemn Arjuna, we cannot condemn Maharaj Parikshit, that what happened to Maharaj Parikshit, he became irritated, he became angry, isn't it? There is a purpose behind that. And that is what Prabhupada is saying. That Brahmaji is the complete representation of the Supreme Lord in this material universe. His transcendental value should not be minimized just because of that act which we saw previously, getting attracted to his own daughter. Similarly, in our lives we can learn that sometimes even we may commit mistakes. When all these devotees, they committed mistake, all of their mistakes were rectified only by the mercy of the Lord. All of us also should understand this, that only by the mercy of the Lord there is a possibility that our mistakes can be rectified, and even our messy situation can become auspicious. Like here we are seeing Brahma's situation, he had to give up his body, he became attracted, he was in a very such kind of deluding situation. But even that became auspicious by the mercy of the Lord. By the mercy of the Lord, he gave up his desire. By the mercy of the Lord, he gave up that body, contaminated body. He took up another body, and in that body again he started, with the same determination, again he started serving the mission of the Lord. Similarly, even though we may commit mistake, to err is human. What happens when we commit mistake? Generally, say we have committed mistake. We become disappointed, we become disgusted. I have been trying so many years to become Krishna conscious, not been able to control my senses, not been able to do this. So what happens? We become disgusted sometimes, and sometimes we want to even end our life. What is the use of this life? It is useless, isn't it? This looks like this situation is not proper for me. Let me take up, maybe some other better situation may come, then I will try to become Krishna conscious. We start thinking in those directions, isn't it? Actually, we can see from all these different pastimes, the best solution when we commit mistake is not to compound the mistakes. When we have already committed mistake, over that we become disillusioned, over that we become disappointed. The result of that is we give up the companies of the devotees, we go away, we leave the company, isn't it? We leave the association of the devotees. What happens? One mistake we committed, over that another greater mistake. What are we going to achieve by that? That is what we should understand. Say a person commits suicide. It is another greater mistake. You are compounding your mistake. That is what we should understand. One mistake we have committed, leaving association of devotee, another greater mistake. One mistake we have committed, we are thinking our situation is not proper. Looks like my body is not proper. Diseased body, improper body, womanly body, man's body, this body, isn't it? So we think better to give up this body. Then what happens by that? Giving up that body, we become ghostly body we will get. So what are we going to achieve in that ghostly body? Nothing. So we should understand everybody may commit mistake, and simply to think about those mistakes again and again and to become negative in our life, that is another greater mistake. We should learn this lesson from these great personalities. Whenever this seemingly committed mistake, even under the direction of the Lord, at least, but we can learn a lesson. They committed mistake under the direction of the Lord. But what is the step they took? When Arjuna committed mistake of that affectionate, he became materially affectionate to his own people and forgot his duty. Parikshit Maharaj became irritated, lost his composure, and he committed a mistake of Vaishnava Aparadha. Isn't it? So we are seeing, what did they do? They all surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They all took shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna immediately took shelter of the Lord. My dear Lord, I am unable to decide. He further did not compound his mistake more. He surrendered to the Lord. My dear Lord, I surrender to you. I am unable to find what should I do, what I should not do. You please guide me. And the result was, he was enlightened. Parikshit Maharaj committed a mistake. Because of his mistake, he was even cursed. You will die within 7 days. See? But within that 7 days, he rectified his mistake. That is very important. He learned from his mistake. And he understood it is all mercy of the Lord, does not matter. So within those 7 days, he submitted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Immediately he fasted. I will not take even one drop of water. I will just hear Krishna Katha. And the Lord also very mercifully sent Shukdev Goswami so that Bhagavatam can be spoken to him. And he also became enlightened. We see Draupadi also. You see, when Draupadi was under so much of turmoil by the Kauravas, she was practically stripped naked, and she tried all her best, whatever was possible, to save herself. And when it became impossible, then she understood that neither my endeavor nor the people whom I am depending on till now, I was depending on these Pandavas, I was depending on my husband, on my this, all these things, they cannot save me. Only that Supreme Personality of Godhead can save. And immediately she submitted to the Lord. The moment she raised her hand and submitted to the Lord, immediately the Lord rescued. Isn't it? Immediately the whole thing became auspicious for her. The whole life became auspicious for her. Even when we find when Draupadi was tested by another incident, when they were in the forest, she had a patra, Akshaya Patra, isn't it? And she had a blessing that till the Pandavas, till she has finished her lunch, as many number of people come, they can be fed, isn't it? So, in that patra, when she had washed, she did not wash it properly, and it was still left over. Some remnants were still left over. So even that apparent mistake of not cleaning the patra, the Lord utilized that properly. So she did not clean the patra properly, something was left. And Duryodhana, what he did, he played a trick. He knew the nature of Durvasa Muni. So he very nicely pleased him when Durvasa Muni came to his kingdom. He very nicely took care of him. So Durvasa Muni became very pleased. He said, what do you want? I want to give you some. You can take some wish from me. So he said, I want whatever opportunity I got to serve you, this opportunity should be given even for the Pandavas. Externally it is looking like he is asking something very good. See, I got opportunity to serve you, so you should become a guest for even Pandavas. They are in the forest. But you should approach them in the afternoon. After they have finished their meal, you should approach them. So Durvasa Muni with his all disciples, he took nice bath, everything, and he was planning to approach the Pandavas. And he said that, we are going to take bath and come back, and you please arrange for all hospitality, whatever is required. So they were all bewildered. First of all, any guest comes to the house, he should be properly taken care of. Moreover, he is not an ordinary person, he is Durvasa Muni. He is a great sage, and at the same time, he is known for his temperament. If he loses his temperament, he can do any kind of havoc. He can create biggest of the havocs. So knowing all these things, Draupadi was completely bewildered that what to do now. So then she prayed fervently to the Lord, and the Lord immediately appeared and asked that whatever is there left over in that vessel, please bring it. So then she said, I have already washed all the vessels, nothing will be there in those vessels. Isn't it? But then she saw that by mistake there were few grains left. So even that was utilized by the Lord. So the Lord then ate those grains, and the moment he became filled out of affection of Draupadi, it is not by eating those grains, it is that love of Draupadi, it is the affection of Draupadi. The Lord was satisfied just by eating those grains. And what happened by that? Immediately all the, Durvasa Muni and all his disciples, their all stomach became filled and they were belching. As if, when stomach becomes filled, then we are belching. So then they thought that already our stomach is filled. And if this time, if we approach the Pandavas and they will serve us with all kinds of delicacies, everything, then it will be an insult, it will not be good if we are not hungry. So all with his disciples, they all left from there being completely filled. So we can see that in all these circumstances, the uniqueness of all these was, they all were dependent on the Supreme Personality of God. Whether it is Brahma, whether it is Arjuna, whether it is Draupadi, whether it is Parikshit Maharaj. Similarly, in all our mistakes we may commit, the solution is not to become bewildered, not to compound the mistake by committing another mistake, but to rectify the mistake by taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of God. So if we take his shelter, even that mistake will be made auspicious by the mercy of the Lord. That we can see. So we'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.